Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us this week for another installment of Ask Epic. We're meeting every week to discuss all things Epic. We want to provide our new to Epic families and returning families a place to learn about all the opportunities we offer. I'm Carla Smitherman, and I'm from the Epic Development Team.
Hi, and I'm Ashley Brown. I'm also from the Epic Development Team. Happy to be here today. We're going to be talking about setting up your student for success. So, as I'm sure a lot of you are, maybe you're new to Epic this year, and you're thinking, "Oh my gosh, it just feels like you just don't know what to expect, and it's a little overwhelming." We get that, and so we're hoping today that we can kind of discuss some tips and things that we can do to really set up our students for success. Yeah, Carla, you want to?
Yeah. I have a question for both of you. And it's been hot outside, and it's not really. I mean, the summer's going by fast to me. I don't know about you ladies. So I was going to ask you, what have y'all been up to this summer? What have you and your families been doing? I'm going to go with Trista. What have you been up to this summer? What have your families been doing this summer?
So we've been really busy. We just got back from Iowa at the USA Archery Tournament. My son won gold in teams, and then a couple weeks ago, my daughter went to Patrick Henry in Virginia, and she learned about intelligence. And so she got to be Izzy Talbot from Arizona and lie all week long. And be a CIA. So,
Oh, wow.
We've been very busy.
Yeah,
Very
that sounds
good.
awesome.
That sounds exciting. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, congratulations and how fun. How about you, Ashley?
I don't have as exciting of things going on as Trista. I think I might need to step my game up, but I can say, not every weekend, but at least 2 weekends out of the month, we try and go to the lake, and stay at my parents' place there. And the kids, you know what? They're nice because that doesn't cost us anything. They're happy to just go down and play at the water. I'm like, great. I love that. So that's our fun thing.
Yeah, anything to keep cool, right?
That's
Everybody.
right.
Well, I was talking to some families this summer and they've been trying to keep their families engaged. And I just wanted to throw out there, everybody has the library, the public library across Oklahoma. They have so many various amazing activities. And guess what? You can keep cool, right? So I know I was talking to a family the other day and they were at I think it was the Shawnee Library, and they had some great activities going on. You can check out a book too, by the way, right? Keeping us engaged in the summer months. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and introduce our amazing guest today. Today we have joining us Miss Trista Dawson. She's already spoke to us. Welcome to our Ask Epic today. We're so excited that you're here joining us, Trista. She is an EPAT, and that is an acronym. We love our acronyms with Epic, don't we? But that stands for Epic Parent as Teacher. Again, thank you for joining us, Trista. Can you tell us what EPAT's role is?
Absolutely. So, as you mentioned, EPAT stands for Epic Parent as Teacher. What that means is we are Epic Parents too. And we coach Epic parents, the Epic model, with our own personal insight. In fact, one of the credentials of an EPAT is that you have been an EPAT parent for several years. And you also have to have a current EPAT or Epic student. So the cool part about my role is I get to partner, and we create this cohesive partnership between parents, teachers, admin, and we just create this atmosphere and we just make connections with each other. So basically, layman's terms, because we always like layman's terms, we are a liaison between our Epic staff and our families.
Wow, sounds awesome. Sounds wonderful.
Yeah, absolutely. And so,
It's really
Trista,
good.
what are some of the ways that EPATs are helping Epic families? What are some of the things that you guys are able to do?
So great question. So we meet with parents via email, Zoom, a phone call, in person. We help them learn anything from maybe they don't know how to set up their personal email. Maybe it's difficult in navigating PowerSchool. We do it all. We just want to come alongside the parent. No question is, bad. No, I've asked them all as a parent, so I know exactly where they're at. But we completely understand that not everyone is tech savvy. And so we just want to come along to parents and then help them out and guide them along the EPIC process.
Oh, wow. Some of those things can be challenging to new families, especially. I've been there. I've watched new families struggle. So we're so happy that you're going to be helping out with that. But how about families who are already been with Epic? Are you all helpful with those families as well?
Yes. So you can be anywhere from your 9th year at Epic to your very, very first year at Epic. Either way, we are going to help you because
Wonderful.
we're always making changes and stuff. Like the Learning Fund, it's always changing. And so it's a great opportunity to, connect with our parents and teachers and just, get everything on the same page. And then we're also helping all of our new families this year. We have over 900 of them already. So we're going to get to know them and see where their strong and their weaknesses are, and just go along beside them, help them out.
That's great.
That
You guys that is such
awesome.
a service that our families need, and like so valuable for our families, and something that, maybe people don't even realize is available to them, but that's so great. And so we're really lucky to have you here, Trista. You have so much great experience and we have a lot to learn from you. And so, yeah, today we're just going to go into some things for some ways to prepare for the school year. If you have questions, those of you in the audience, if you have questions, please type them in the chat box and we will get to them, and we'll try to answer everybody's questions. If you have something that maybe is really specific, or you just want to talk to somebody one-on-one, you can absolutely email Carla and I's team, and we'll type it in the chat box as well. But our email is edt@epiccharterschools.org. So if you want something one-on-one to be addressed, please send us an email. But otherwise, I think we're ready to get started.
Yeah, let's just dive right in. We get some great questions every week, so keep those coming. We appreciate all of them. So we've compiled a list of tips that we think are going to help you start the school off year. It's real important for us as from Epic that we are starting you off with success. We believe that it's being organized and it to be an effective Epic family. We want you to start off strong, and we want to give you the best tips available to you. So we're going to start you off and give you some information. And we're going to ask Trista to share her perspective as well. So get ready. All right, you ready, Ashley?
Yes,
let's get going.
Yes, absolutely. So the first thing we want to talk about today is setting up your workspace. And so it's important, just like in a school, in a traditional brick and mortar setting, you have your desk or wherever it is you do your work, or as an adult in your office. It's important for kids to have this as well. It's good for kids to have their own space to sit and concentrate. So start thinking now, where could my kids work? If you haven't already found a spot, start thinking about it. Maybe they've got a spot in their bedroom, or maybe it's off the kitchen. Every home is different, and you don't have to run out and buy anything. There's no need to, if you don't want to. You can absolutely make use of what's in your home. Just be thinking about, where can my kid work, and maybe be free from distractions. Let's say the best place to work is probably not in the living room in front of the TV. That might be a little distracting. But every kid is different. And so just be really thinking about that. And then, get creative. Bring your student into this. Ask them where they would like to work. But just think about, finding an area that's free of distractions as much as possible, and is somewhere that they can be comfortable. So Trista, what do you think about when you guys are considering where your kids are going to work? What do you try to think about?
So that has evolved over the years. So we have been with Epic for 5 years. This is our 5th year. And so, and as they grow, those different workspaces are going to change. So that's one thing to keep in mind. But like you mentioned, one of the key things that I always make sure with our environment is there's no distractions. We turn the phones off, we turn the TVs off. There's no distractions, because just that background noise or the beeping of a notification on a phone and stuff. That's just, all of those are distractions. So that is the biggest thing when, we have or within our workspace.
That's awesome. That is so awesome. Wow. I think the distraction issue is really a very important part, right? As we are, again, talking about setting students up for success. I know I have walked into families as I've sat down and the TV is blaring, there's radios, there's games going on. I'm like, how are we being effective here? So I know that parents are real. It's real important that parents are taking all these tips to heed, that we're discussing today. So anyway, all right. The next one we're talking about are supplies. School supplies are very important for every student and at Epic. And Epic is no exception. This year, we're excited that all students will be given an Epic backpack. I know, right? That's gonna be wonderful. And inside that backpack, we'll have some school supplies. We also wanted to make sure families knew that this school year, if you elect to use an Epic Chromebook, and this is exciting for me, this is a new thing, there will be no charge to your learning fund. I was just excited about that one. That's exceptional. We are super excited about these great new additions for our Epic families. That's just a huge savings for you now that you no longer have to be charged for your computer. Make sure when you meet with your teacher, though, you ask what supplies they recommend. So Trista, anything you want to add about school supplies? I'd love to have your feedback on that one.
Yes. So when we first started, we did not know that within the curriculum, there were supply lists. So check out some of your curriculums because they have supply lists, and the science, I know some of the stuff may not be on the list of things that you can get, but you can get science kits on Amazon. So if it's a volcano that they're going to make, you can get a kit for that. So it's, but I would definitely check out the supply list if your curriculum has those.
Absolutely. That's an excellent idea. Also, if your student is in high school and they're time for them to take the ACT, they want to make sure they think about that science calculator, graphic calculator. So there's just a variety of items that they might be interested in needing that they can get from their learning fund. But again, check with your teacher. When you sit down at that ILP meeting, they will know what those supplies might be. Okay, so next, Ashley.
Yes. And so I just wanted to address, sorry, Amy. I didn't realize, so we had somebody ask a question at the beginning of the meeting. They were just asking if this meeting was available for replay, so if they could watch it back later. When I responded in the chat, I didn't realize they had just messaged me privately. So, but just so everyone knows, yes, this recording is going to be on the Epic website. So, so you can go back and watch it if you need to. Okay, wonderful. Thank you guys on the supplies. And yeah, I think it's really important to just be, again, thinking about what are some things that you might be needing. That's a great time to get advice from your teacher. Teachers can usually make recommendations of things they think might be necessary. So you can kind of start planning or maybe doing your research. I always think that's important. And one thing, too, is this year we're doing the backpacks for Epic students. So they're going to be receiving the Epic backpack with the school supplies in it. Not everything, it's not everything. It's not all encompassing, but it's a pretty good start. And so we're really excited about that.
Yeah, it's going to be wonderful.
Yeah, absolutely. And so the next thing we want to talk about is getting dressed and ready for the day. As an Epic student, a really big positive is that you don't have to have the rush around at the crack of dawn, getting your kids out the door, fighting them to get out on the bus at the right time. That's really nice that you don't have to worry about that. And sometimes you do have the option to work in your pajamas, but we feel like to set our students up for success, they really do well if you encourage them to get up in the morning and get dressed and ready and be ready to tackle the day. We just find, I mean, myself, even some days I'm tempted. I'm like, I don't really want to get dressed and ready, but I always feel my best and my most like energized and ready to work when I, look good, feel good, right?
Yeah,
So, and
exactly.
it kind of helps to wake you up too, right? Like splash some water on your face, brush your teeth, definitely will wake you up. And so we just find that it makes a big difference in kids' motivation and willingness to work if they're dressed and ready. Do your kids, Trista, do your kids get up and ready every day?
Oh, yes. So morning routines are a must in our home. That's how we get the day started. It also, and I'll tell you in our second a funny story. But my kids start the day off at 9 a.m. They have their teeth brushed, they brush their hair, they're out of their PJs, they get breakfast, face washed, and they also have water because hydration is so important in the mornings. But anything now, if they wake up a little early and stuff and they get it all done, then hey, they want to catch a cartoon or play with some toys and stuff before that, that's perfectly fine. But 9 a.m. is when our day starts. And my funny story is so the reason why we also have this routine is because you never know when you're going to bust a tooth out and you need to make an emergency dentist appointment. And you don't want to be in your PJs. And when I say all of that, this didn't happen overnight. This took months of practice. And so we eventually created a habit out of it. And then my kids know the expectations of what a morning routine looks like. I just think that that's really beneficial in the working force, and it's just something that they can carry over into adulthood.
That's awesome. I love that. You're right. The earlier the better. Those type of those skills and those schedules, the things that we start early on, they do definitely carry over into adulthood. I love that. We do have a question, and actually, I want to circle back to something someone asked about the Epic fact page. But I do see Diana Johnson has asked. We are new to the school. My son is 4. We are doing the pre-K and was wondering what that interaction looks like as far as Zoom classes or one-on-one. How many hours on the computer, and is it every day? Oh my goodness, Diana, what an amazing question. I can start because obviously I was a teacher last year, and I can ask Trista or Ashley also can give feedback to that question. For one thing, it does depend on your teacher. And you and your teacher will sit down at that ILP meeting, and you all will have a discussion about what the expectations are and what that teacher does with what they do with students at that age. And you all come to an agreement and discuss those things because every teacher has a different expectation, interaction. I do know from my perspective, I like to have as little interaction on the computer as possible, as much engaging experiences for that age as possible. Obviously, studies show that you don't want the students involved on the computer at that age as much as possible. You want them engaged in activities that will grow their mind and what have you. And you want them engaged in activities that will develop them in other areas. So that's just my feedback on that. As far as hours on the day on the computer, like I said, I think it varies. We do have expectation that students will be on the computer, but I would say honestly that's probably a limited amount, but it does depend on what the teacher, every teacher is different. So that's just my experience. Trista, would you like to try to address that? I don't know how old your children were when they joined Epic. I'd love for you to try to see if you want to tackle that. And Ashley, I'd love to have your feedback as well.
Yeah, so I did not have littles at that age. Mine came in the 3rd grade. So, but I will say that there is offline curriculum. So, those are options. So you don't have to, just you don't have to know that that's your only option. Is it has to be completely online all the time. But the best advice is to talk to your teacher because they're going to get to know you and your family, and they're going to figure out what works for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's really important to think about when they're younger, it doesn't take quite as much time. A high school student has a lot more on their plate than a pre-K student. And so it it's not quite as intensive as what, a high school senior is doing. So, you can expect a few hours, but you're going to meet with your teacher at least once a week. But again, that, like Carla said, that's going to come down to, what you and your teacher decide, because it is different for every student based on their needs. Thank you for that question. That was
Yeah.
Diana. Thank you so much.
Yes, that was a great question. And I think there was a question, if Ashley, if you'd like to answer this, if we go back, what is the Epic Fact page?
Yep. Yeah, I think she was just asking about where to find the recording.
Oh, okay.
Well, she didn't know where the question came from. Sorry, y'all. When people are putting in the chat their questions, it's going to just the host. And so those of you in the audience can't see it. So we'll make sure to out loud ask the question so you guys know what
All
it
right,
is.
very good. Okay, well, we'll move right on now. We don't have any more questions. What the next tip that we have is talking about a dedicated schedule for your students, for the family. I know for me, I know that we really want to encourage differentiation for our families. But one of the things that I liked with my families to talk about was time management for in the coming weeks. But for now, we need to start thinking about being intentional. Like, what is the structure for your day? How are you going to encourage your student to work? What is that your day going to look like? And I know every family's different. What works for you may not work for another. I know some families have ballet, or they may have basketball during the day. So it helps to know your child and know your family situation. What I'd like to ask is, so what order of the day? When are you going to do your work? When are you going to eat? Maybe when are you going to take a snack? When are you going to take a break? So I would like to know a typical day for you, Trista. What would a typical day in the life of the Dawson family look like? And I know why don't you tell us the ages of your student and maybe give us an example of each age limit, age child.
Sure, absolutely. So my youngest is going into the 7th grade. So we are middle school days. So, and then my oldest is a senior. So yes, both of their days look completely different now. When they were younger, it looked about, we could, have the same kind of schedule. But now that my daughter is in the ECA, which is Epic Collegiate Academy, and so she's got college classes and she's going through that experience. And then my son is in middle school. So, he's not, his schedule's different. But no matter what, we still have our morning routine together. It's just important. And then we start our day 9 o'clock. It runs till 2 p.m. unless I accidentally flood the kitchen during breakfast, or like I said, one of my kiddos busts their teeth. Typically, our schedule is from 9 to 2, and we wake up, we get our day started, and then we get right into the curriculum. It's very important that you look at your kiddos' curriculum and see what their week is like. I just always knew that just by looking at how the day is going to go and stuff, because every day looks a bit different. We don't do a rigorous schedule. I know some people do, and they thrive on it. But it just didn't work because we have sports, we have archery, and that was, like was mentioned earlier, there's different things throughout the day. So we just, my best advice that I tell everyone that I meet is that when I came to Epic, I really truly believed in the term school can be different. And I was determined to figure out what that means for our family. And so when I first started, there were things that didn't work, but I just kept trying different things until it did work. But we do not have a rigorous schedule, meaning, my kid has to do math and it has to be in 30 minutes. And then we have to go to history. And then after 30 more minutes, then we have to, it's not built that way because their curriculum's not built that way. So we just look through it day by day and see, how they're, there'll be some days where it's just a math day. You know, kind of what I said earlier is it didn't work at the beginning of this, or when we first started with Epic. And one of the stories that I, you know, tell a lot of my parents that I meet is, you know, my kids just hated that brick and mortar schedule because I try to push that on them, and it just doesn't work at home. And so, you know, they weren't done with their math, you know, after, you know, 10 o'clock, you know, they still needed to, you know, finish up and stuff. And it was just, we just battled it. So, so basically I just was like, you know what, I'm going to try something different. So I told my son, I'm like, go get, I want you to go get into your Sonic the Hedgehog costume, and we're going to teach your character some math today. And we had a math day, and it was like a light bulb because he finished 7% of math that day, teaching his characters math. And it was for the, when I say 7%, that's a week. That was the whole week of math. And so right then a light bulb clicked of, you know what? Some days are harder than others, and today's just going to be a math day. Tomorrow's going to be maybe science with Mario or something like that, but each day can be different.
That sounds so phenomenal, Trista. Wow, that creativity what you brought to the table, and that is definitely different school. School can be different. Okay, we have a question from John Tiger. They say, I'm trying to enroll my boys in school. They're in the 11th, 12th grade. They need information on. Okay, so I tell you what, we will circle back. If you can email us, and do you see that that question, Ashley? And we will definitely get some information to you, Mr. John Tiger. We will definitely get you some information to email us and get you some help with that, okay? But anyway, Trista, that sounds amazing. You definitely had great creativity and so some exceptional patience and wisdom. Wow.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's great.
The beauty of Epic is you don't have to keep trying to force what doesn't work for your family.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, go ahead,
great.
Carla.
Well, I was going to say, Trista, I do want to say to some families, there are a lot of families out there that they work out of the home and they leave their children. They might try a different approach. That was my story with some of my families. And you might have to try having print out a little bit a schedule and offering some other options for your child with a printout of 9 to 10 offering to do this, and 10 to 10:15 having a break, 10:15 to 10:30 snack, because sometimes children need a little bit more structure or guidance if an adult is not there to supervise. And that was what I would recommend, because I thought that works a little bit better, because sometimes students on their own may not have that ability to manage themselves. That's all I would say. Now, if everybody had a Miss Dawson around, but sometimes I found that if there, a lot of my families, you know, a family parent worked out of the home and they really want to do Epic. So I would encourage you, you know, again, we said every family's different. And if you find yourself, if you are a single parent and you want to do Epic, yes, you can. And you can maybe possibly have some kind of a schedule, and your child can follow those instructions and still be able to have a great opportunity and have great success.
Yeah, I was going to mention, so my high schooler, she has been doing this the last 2-3 years. She is a night owl. She works fantastic. Some of her best papers have been cranked out at 11 o'clock at night. I don't know how she does it, but she's not a morning person. And so she may get her morning, but at night, she just cranks out some serious things. So, you know, I encourage that. So if that happens with your high schooler and they do well in the evening time, that's okay. I mean, they're checking those boxes, getting that work completed. So
that's great. Yes. I know these high schoolers can keep up the night oil, right? They can burn that midnight oil. They really can. Do we have any other questions, Ashley? If not, I know we probably need to move on to our
Yes, we do have
next tip.
one. We do have one question here. Celine asked, she said, new to Epic this year, have a third grader. Can you tell us about the schoolhouse model? I'm happy to do that. I can try to give
Yes.
like a brief overview. And if you have more specific questions, you're always welcome to email us. But yeah, the schoolhouse model is great. What it is your student will be placed into we could say class of students that are also in the same grade. So for your third grader, they would be placed with other third graders in your area, and they're going to be placed with a teacher as well that is certified to teach that grade. And so what happens is you're going to meet with your teacher and your class 2 to 4 times a week, depends on the age, depends on the teacher. And you're going to get together and meet sometimes in person, sometimes over Zoom. And so what's neat about Schoolhouse, it's great for people that want more time with their teacher, more face-to-face time each week with their teacher, and that want their kids to have more exposure to being around their peers. That's the big difference between one-to-one and Schoolhouse, is they're going to have those opportunities to be in a learning environment with their peers. And I think it's really awesome. If that's something that you feel like your student is missing out on, I would absolutely consider the Schoolhouse model. They do field trips, I think once a month-ish. And yeah, so they just get together as a class, and you get to do a lot of those activities that kids can't do at home by themselves. They might be doing experiments or debates or, all those things that you see in a traditional classroom setting. And then when the kids aren't meeting with their teacher and their peers, they're still working independently at home. So it's kind of the best of both worlds there. But if you have further questions on that, Celine, please let me know. I see one
Yes.
more question.
Diana,
Yes, Diana wants to
how
know,
do you get your
how do you get your
how do you get your
equipment or
equipment?
books? So that's going to happen after you have your ILP meeting with your teacher. So you'll do your ILP, and those are starting now. They're going to be happening over the coming weeks. And in that meeting, you'll tell your teacher what you need. So if you need to order a laptop, that order will be placed then. And you'll also order your curriculum. So whatever curriculum you choose. And a lot of times we hear this question, people are asking, do I have textbooks? Am I going to get sent a big old stack of textbooks? Generally, no. Our curriculum is all online. So all of everything you're going to need for the most part is going to be within that online website or platform. But sometimes the teacher or the curriculum may come with workbooks, or maybe they just want you to have some literature. Those are things that your teacher will place orders for, sometimes at the ILP, sometimes after. But again, so that ordering process is going to go through your teacher at the ILP meeting.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, awesome. I'm gonna move us along here, but please bring us all your questions. We love the
Yeah, these are
questions and we want to
great.
answer them. And
Wonderful.
this is a great time to do it because we have Trista here to help us. So, but we're
Okay,
gonna move on. Oh,
here's
I'm
one more.
sorry.
Do you offer tutoring if your child is struggling in a subject? Yes, we do. We have some amazing tutoring through the Learning Fund. And some of them are online and some of them are in person, depends on what part of the state you live in. So that, again, back to the teacher, you can ask your teacher if they have a recommendation, or you can go online and look at the Learning Fund and vet them yourself, depending on what type of services you're needing. So, but again, always go to your teacher and start with her or him, and then go from there. But we do have some amazing tutoring services that we offer. And then we have some that are free, not outside of the Learning Fund, that are automatically free with Epic as well, that I highly recommend. So we have both options that are available to you.
Yeah, great
Yes,
question.
we do. Thank you, Shauna. I'm sorry, I missed that option, but, and they are amazing too. Yes, our FEV tutors are amazing, and Tutor Me. All right.
Okay, yeah, please hit us with your questions. We'd love to answer them. Okay, we're going to talk about brain breaks. Some of you might be feeling like I need a brain break right now. um, so what a brain break is, if you're not familiar, basically it's important for students, especially the little ones. The younger they are, the more breaks they're probably going to need. A 6-year-old or even a 10-year-old, even myself as an adult, you can't just sit there in front of a computer for 6 hours straight and just work consistently. I mean, if you can, that's great. I need to learn what you're doing. But oftentimes we need to have little breaks to kind of just reset things, right? And so we recommend that our students are taking those brain breaks. And it depends. The younger they are, the more often they're going to need them. And what a brain break is, this is kind of a teacher term, but it's a chance for kids to unplug, walk away from the computer, and maybe they're picking up a toy or a puzzle, an activity. A lot of times kids need a physical activity. They got to get their wiggles out. And so if you've ever been into a kindergarten classroom, you've probably seen teachers and students doing all kinds of crazy dances. That's a brain break. And so there's a lot of options out there, but it really helps to reset them. And if you feel like it's almost like, when you have a baby and they won't stop crying, and your grandma says, put them in the bath, that'll chill them out. That's kind of like a brain break for a student, right? Give them a chance to get up, run around, whatever it is that your kid's into, and just reset their brain. And so think now about finding some activities that you think that they would enjoy doing. So maybe maybe they're really into coloring. You're going to set that aside just to have on hand when they need it. It could be, like I said, puzzles or toys. Oftentimes my kids love, and I don't know if you guys are familiar with this, on YouTube, there are brain break videos, and it's like my kids do it all the time, like in the summer, like they're not even doing school, but they love to get the Floor is Lava YouTube brain break, and they're like jumping, they're trying to follow these characters. It's really funny. But those are so important for our kids, and they help when they're hitting a wall. Maybe they're on math and they're hitting a wall, and they just cannot, they're struggling, they're frustrated. Tell them to get up and take a break. Those are really important. Trista, do your kids use brain breaks at all?
Oh, yes. Even my senior has her brain breaks. If I hear the piano playing, I know my oldest is taking a brain break. So in our house, brain breaks are super important. My kids, they have the choice. They can go read a book, they can play an instrument, they can go sit outside on the front porch. They can go ride a bike for a little while, just whatever they need to do, just to get up, stand up, go walk around, just to get away from, both of mine are on computers. So all of their curriculum is all online and stuff. So in our home, we don't have offline curriculum. It's all online. So we make the choice of no computers, games, phones, TV, no screens, to allow our brains to just have that break. And so, but yeah, if I'm hearing Connor playing the drums or my oldest playing the piano, I know they're brain breaking. So, or they need one.
That's great. Yeah, thank you.
That
Those are
is so awesome.
Yeah. Go ahead, Carla.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. I think that those, gosh, I think I'll have to, now I wish I had Miss Trista around to talk to some other families about what to do. Anyway, so, this last tip, I think really this is what sets EPIC aside to me, among many, many other things, as really exceptional, because this really gives our families something very unique. And again, this is the Learning Fund. I mean, this is the vendors with our learning that our families can go to, and the vendors that we can go to and use the Learning Fund to do everything from horseback riding to archery lessons to piano lessons. I was trying to think of some of the unique areas that some of my students participating in. I heard so many wonderful things they did: karate lessons, judo lessons. I just can't even name them all. Painting. They just did some great things with the Learning Fund and our vendors. So now is the time, families, go to the website, look up our vendors, and explore. There's just so many options out there. Find out what your child might be interested in, and look into things that you don't think they would be interested in. Who knows, right? That's what I asked my families to do last year, because you never know. And I was really excited for some of the families that I had on my roster last year because they found some really interesting things to participate in. So that's one of our last tips, is that we really want our families to take advantage of the vendors that are available to us because they have some exciting opportunities to participate in. So Trista, tell us some of the things that I think you've already told us some of the things that you do. Tell us some of the things that your family's done, and maybe some that you've heard of other families have participated in with their learning fund monies.
Okay, yeah, so my kids do archery. And so conditioning is very important. So they go to a gym and they have a membership at a gym. My son, he did guitar last year, but he wants to do drums this year. So we're going to do drum lessons. So it's going to be very noisy in my house. But I will say that new vendors are being added all the time. So, don't just check it at the beginning of the year and be like, oh, that's all of them. And if you know of a vendor and say there's someone in your area and you're like, man, I wish they were a vendor, go talk to them. It's a very easy process for them to become a vendor. And so that's my advice is if you're in an area of maybe there's just not a lot of options, but you know that there are, there's some karate in your neighborhood or something like that, but they're just not a vendor, ask them if they want to be a vendor. And then the process is very easy. It's on the Epic website of, how to do it. But the process is super easy and it's very quick. The turnaround is very quick on it. So, but yeah, there are several vendors to choose from. And I know that I get this question a lot at our expos and stuff, but there are some people that are just like, there's just not a vendor. And, we live in the middle of nowhere. And so I always tell them that, some of our vendors offer lessons online. So you can maybe take a guitar lesson or something like that online.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. And I mentioned the tutoring already. That's also an option with our vendors as well. I know iFly. I don't know if anybody's ever heard of that. Out of Oklahoma City is one option, but there's just many, like I said. So there's just so many options for our families to participate in. Again, this is what differentiates one of the many areas that makes Epic so outstanding for our families and just really sets us aside as an outstanding option for families to participate in. And our families really, really love it. And I know that I've had so many great things that our students have done, and they take pictures and send them to me last year. So I know they enjoyed them. But yeah, Ashley, do we have any other tips?
Yes, I did want to say one thing about the Learning Fund. Yes, take advantage of checking out that directory. And it's just important to start doing your research now. We want your kid to find an activity that they can plug into. But it's important to do your research now on the front end. What can happen sometimes is if maybe you don't fully understand the rules and guidelines involved, you could make a mistake. So I just like to tell people, educate yourself beforehand. Ask your teacher, reach out to the Learning Fund and just clarify, okay, if I want to do this, do your research now before the school year starts. Because once the school year starts, I'm sure you can imagine things get crazy. As a parent, you're just like, boom, 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 you're going nuts. So now's a great time when you're kind of in that in between to research something you're interested in, start looking for vendors, and start trying to really understand that process to make sure that you know how to use it. And my final tip that I have is plug in for your students to be successful. If you're new to Epic, if you've been at Epic, I'm sure you already know, but it is so important for you to find a way for your student to plug in. They're not going to be in a brick and mortar setting every day where they're around a million people and all of this every day. So it's really important that you're proactive there to find something for them. Maybe that's, like we've talked about, using the Learning Fund to find an activity. Maybe it's going with Trista and her team, the Family Engagement Department. They're doing field trips every week, like twice a week. I think Trista can clarify that for me, but every week there's field trips all over the state. So find a buddy. As parents, you can utilize the parent Facebook group. Find some people in your area and find a way to connect with other families or other students. Maybe you guys have the same interests, maybe you're just in the same area, but that is so important. Honestly, if I'm being honest, not only for your student, it's great to have that community and those relationships, but as a parent, like I'm sure you know, Trista, it's nice to be around other EPIC parents that can relate to you, and they're gonna build you up when you need the support, and that's so important. What else was I gonna say? Yeah, we just want to have our families be happy and healthy. We want them to be well-rounded. We want our students to be taken care of, and more than just making good grades, right? Like we want our students to grow and just meet their full potential. Trista, I'm sure because you are the expert here, what activities or how do you suggest that parents plug in?
So we have so many choices. And so I just want to highlight some of those choices. So we have field trips, as you mentioned, but we also have spelling bees, we have health fairs, we have talent shows, we have community service projects, and these are for all ages. So, get your kiddos signed up, from your littles to your oldest kiddos, get them all signed up. We also have, and it's very easy to sign up too. It's just through Eventbrite. So it's a very easy process. It's on our website, but it's super fast and super quick, and you just get them signed up through Eventbrite. But also our older students, they can do clubs. We have from National Honor Society, National Junior Honor Society, Key Club, Student Council. We have game nights for students. So just make sure that you're checking your email. I just want to put a plug in because I feel like it's really important that we have a family engagement newsletter that goes out, and it highlights all of the different things. And you can also see some of the places that we go. We also have a map you can see at all of the different field trips and community service. You can just see where we're going and where we've been. So I just want to highlight that. We also have co-ops in some areas. My son attends a co-op here in Norman on Wednesdays. Now with co-ops, just check with your teacher and see if they're a part of that co-op, or you can also see if maybe your teacher is part of a teacher group and that meets with other teachers. So that's a great way to plug in. We also have what Ashley mentioned, the schoolhouse model. We just have so many wonderful opportunities, and I just want to highlight those. And then also we also have our expos coming up. And I want to mention those because those are coming up quick. We're going to start those in August. And this is just an amazing way to jumpstart your year. You get to talk to vendors. You get some one-on-one help with our EPATs. All of our 12 EPATs are going to be there, and we're going to be answering questions. You get some fantastic information on curriculum. So if maybe you're just, juggling a couple curriculums, you can get some feedback on the curriculums. The clubs that I mentioned, some of them are going to be there. The bonus part is we have classes for all of our EPIC students. So, they may get a history lesson or an art lesson. Some of our expos are going to include a book fair. So I know lots of kiddos are really excited about that again this year. So we're going to do that. And then also you can sign up for school pictures at these expos. So, but this is just a great opportunity for your kids to get what I call the initial EPIC plug-in. So it's going to be a great time, but that's coming up in August. So, you can check out the calendar, watch for your newsletter for more updates. But and if you're not getting our newsletter, just reach out to us and we'll make sure that you're getting the newsletter.
Wow, those are such great tips that we've heard today, especially plugging in. I cannot stress that enough. I know families are so busy. I think Ash and I've heard this many times. I know as for myself, it's many times I don't want to read my email, but no, please read your email, families, because we have so many great things going on, from the expo to information, and we really need you to take part of those. Make sure you read that information is so vital and so crucial for you to know about, and how to to gain access to information that is so crucial for your child's success this year. So anyway, but Trista, we want to thank you so much for joining us. Oh my goodness, you have shared some great information. I can't thank you enough. I can't even say one tip that she shared today that was greater than the other. Everything has been so amazing. From the tip of how you organize your family that kind of differentiates you. I love that. To just what you just spoke of about being plugged in. I just can't thank you enough for what you shared with us today. It really meant a lot to us, and especially it's invaluable what what you and your team are going to do in supporting those 900 new families. Probably going to be more than 1,000 in the next 2 weeks, right, Ashley? So anyway, so anyone, if you still have any more questions about our programs or anything discussed today, or maybe you're still considering enrolling, it's not too late. School starts August the 21st. Oh my goodness, right around the corner, right? It's not too late to enroll. Just reach out to our team at 405-749-4550, extension 489, or email us at edt@epiccharterschools.org. We're happy to answer any questions and give you the information you need to make the best choice for your students. And we keep getting great questions, so keep them coming. We love answering all the questions that you have. Next week, we're going to have a great start, a great Ask Epic. We're going to discuss how to set your students up for success. And we're going to talk about some even amazing questions, amazing things as well. So we're going to get some tips from our veteran families and teachers to learn how they structure their day and keep their students on task. So we have so much to learn, and I'm looking forward to that topic.
Awesome. Yeah. And so we are going to have people from the family engagement department back next week to talk about our back to school expos even more. So we're excited, and really everything that the Feds, which is Trista's department, what they're up to. So I'm really excited for that. Thank you, Trista. Like Carla said, your team is invaluable. You guys are doing such amazing things for our families, and we really appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you for having me. This was a blast, and I just love reaching out to different families and stuff and getting to know them. So if you see me at an expo, come say hello. Let me meet you, and we'll discuss everything Epic. So
awesome. Good. Thank you
so much. We have one
Trista.
question. Ashley, I'm so sorry. This is perfect. We have one last question, and she says, I'm just logging on and I'm new to Epic School. Well, welcome. We're glad you logged on, right? You're right on time. And she says, I'm just enrolled in my kids and was wondering how soon will I hear back from anyone or a teacher? That's a great question. You should be hearing very soon. We want to let you know this is the busy time for Epic. So right now, I think the last I saw, I think there's like hundreds of enrollment applications right now. So please be patient with us. Just know that we are reviewing all those applications and enrollment right now. So you should be hearing something very soon. You will receive an email from us and then an approval or something that's saying that if we still are needing something, you'll get an email from us. And then after the approval email comes, you'll be receiving an email from your new teacher. And then you will have an email stating you have set up a meeting time, which is called an ILP. That meeting date and time will be scheduled with your new teacher. So I hope that helps you. And if you have any questions, again, you can contact us at edt@epiccharterschools.org, and we'd be more than happy to answer any additional questions you might have for us. Okay.
Awesome. All right. Thank
hope
you so much.
And welcome
Heather.
Again to Epic. We're excited to have you. Happy to have you with us. Welcome to you and your family. You're gonna have a great year.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, well, thank you so much to everybody for joining us today. And if you joined in at the end and didn't get to see the whole thing, yes, these videos do get posted on our website on the FAQ page. The recordings are up there, so you can go back, and then maybe there's some you who didn't join in for. You could watch previous ones. So please take a chance to do that. Thank you to everybody for joining us, and come back next week. Thanks. Tune in again for Ask Epic.
Ask Epic. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thanks, Miss Trista. See you later.